Hello everyone, I'm Gerry Bonds. Coming up next on a very special edition of Oklahoma City Metro, we'll talk about the new Ken Burns film, The War. We'll also hear from an Oklahoma veteran who fought in what has been referred to as the Second Battle of the Bulge. And finally, I'll be joined by OETA's Deputy Director of Educational Outreach and our Public Information Manager to talk about OETA's massive statewide effort to document the war stories of Oklahoma's World War II veterans. Stay with us. A very special Oklahoma City Metro is next. Thanks for joining us. The new Ken Burns documentary, The War, will debut on PBS on September 23rd. That film has generated profound interest in the Second World War and the stories of veterans all across our nation. OETA has launched a massive effort to collect and archive those stories at the Oklahoma History Center. We'll talk about that project a little bit later, but first, one of the many Oklahomans who fought in World War II is a man who chose Oklahoma as his adopted home after he was stationed here back in the 1950s. During the war, he participated in a fight often referred to as the Second Battle of the Bulge. I am so pleased to welcome a proud veteran of the Cactus Division, Harley Richardson. And it is really an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Gerry.
If you don't mind, let's roll back the clock to October of 1944. You are, I think, 19 years old. You arrive in Marseille, France, and paint us a picture of that winter of 44, because you were in for just traumatic experiences along the way, weren't you?
It was quite a difference for us, being first time out of the U.S. and into France. Customs were different of those that we met.
And you were drafted out of high school, right?
I was drafted out of high school. I lacked a few credits. They gave me credits for 17 weeks of basic training for physical ed. I would rather have taken physical ed.
I bet you would.
But I did graduate then in May of 43 after I was in service. Yes.
All right, Alsace-Lorraine. The winter of 44.
We fought into Alsace, the region that Germans consider to be Germany. And the signs were different. As soon as we went in, we thought, we've already gotten Germany. And we knew we weren't because of the distance. But the signs were in German, They changed those.
Now, on your way there, you lost, what was it, half?
Our first, before we got into combat, we were walking up to the front line. And we lost half of my squad. The squad is 12 men, and we lost 6 men. 2 men dead and 4 men wounded from a anti-personnel mine that was tripped in the side of the hill that we were going up. And they were right adjacent to me. They were as close as I am to you.
And you were part of this 103rd Infantry Cactus Division, and I think I read that eventually 800 lives were lost out of that.
About 847, I believe, killed and then died of wounds. That many, yes.
But in that battle, all told, 16,000 American lives.
Yes, in the one the Germans called Operation Northwind.
Right.
Yes, and the Germans lost even many more than that.
You were a radio operator. Right?
Yes, company radio operator.
Okay, what did that mean?
That's not very sophisticated. I carried it on my back. It was an SCR 300, and it was miniaturized for the day, but it still weighed 40 pounds with a full battery in it. And I found out that one thing, you can run full tilt with that on your back if you have the right incentive.
Absolutely. It's called survival, isn't it? Yeah. And you did survive. In terms of the images that you saw, though, how did it change your life forever?
Well, it did change us quite a bit. At first, when we saw casualties, they bothered us quite a bit. Then it got to a point, and I regret to say this, it got to me, I had as much sympathy for a dead horse, because the Germans had a lot of horses they were using, and they got killed in action as well. And you see them along the road as well as casualties from the combat. You
have some wonderful medals that you're wearing. Which is the one you're proudest of there?
The most important one, in my estimation, is the Combat Infantry Badge.
And that's the blue one there.
That's the blue rifle with the wreath around it. And that means that you've been in combat and the enemy has shot at you. Yeah.
You also brought your hat, and I love what you said about this. This is the original. You have the whole uniform at home, I bet, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
It won't fit.
It won't fit.
It is shrunk. But the cap is the only thing that will fit.
Do you have any buddies from the 103rd here in Oklahoma City?
We have some that were in the 103rd that are here. We have 2 that I know of. We may have more that we do not know of. We'd welcome knowing them if they've been in the 103rd.
I know you're very proud of a monument is it the town of Pfaffenhofen?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it right. And it's in Alsace. It's along the Motor River, where we spent the winter of 1944-45. And the town is Pfaffenhofen. And that is a place that we visited with reunions of the 103rd. And the village or town invited us to put a monument there.
And the granite is from?
Granite, Oklahoma.
That's wonderful.
Bonnie and I hosted those trips that we've gone, and that's where we had it made, by the Willis Granite Company. And we shipped it from their works to France, and then the French picked it up at Le Havre, moved it to Pfaffenhofen, and it's in a park in downtown Pfaffenhofen. You
actually spent some time at Dachau as well. Tell us about that just quickly.
We were sent to Dachau. We had no idea about Dachau, like the ones who liberated it. We didn't know what was going on in those places. The 103rd had liberated one camp, but we didn't know that until later. That's down by Landsberg, called Coffering, I believe. And Dachau, we just were taken there by train, like the prisoners. We were much similar to them. And we were stationed there about 2 weeks. It was a reassignment center for the American military. And it's a terrible place, and I can understand why the Germans would like for it to go away. But another word for it, in my estimation, from what I saw, would be HELL. The ones who went through that, I'm sure, could contest to that. Yes.
Well, we could go on and on with your stories, and you are an inspiration to all of us, part of that greatest generation. I know you're a little humble about that, but we're very, very pleased to have you here and glad that we can look back and share in your memories. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.